Welcome to Yaka Digital Network. When the sculptor Michelangelo approached a solid block of marble, he didn't view it as building a statue. He said his process was simply chipping away the excess stone to set the figure free. Look at this split-screen diagram to see how that works in practice. On the left, clay modeling is an additive process. You build a shape up from nothing. On the right, carving a dense material like Ugandan vule wood is strictly subtractive. You start with a complete mass and selectively take material away. This creates the single most important rule in sculpture: think before you cut. If you make a mistake in clay, you simply add more. In carving, once a piece of wood is cut away, it is gone forever. To prevent permanent mistakes, carvers follow a strict sequence of 4 irreversible stages. You plan the cuts during the blocking stage, remove large excess chunks during roughing, shape the detailed curves during refining, and smooth the surface during finishing. This illustrates the blocking stage. Before your chisel touches the wood, draw the exact silhouette of your subject on the front, side, and top faces. When cutting, you chase those silhouettes inward as boundaries. Cutting past them permanently loses the 3D form. Executing those cuts requires specific safety protocols. You must always clamp your block to a table and carve directly away from your body, keeping your hands behind the blade at all times. Notice the force vectors in this top-down diagram. This is the two-handed rule. Your driving hand sits at the back to provide forward force. Your guiding hand grips the shaft near the blade, pulling back slightly to act as a brake. That braking hand prevents the chisel from slipping forward unpredictably. Following this rule controls the exact depth of the blade, making safe carving and precise material removal the exact same skill. This relief carving demonstrates artists working with local Ugandan hardwoods. Look closely at the background textures to see the natural fiber patterns of the tree. This is the grain, dictating exactly how the material behaves. These wood fibers act like bundled tubes. Carve with the downward slope and the blade cleanly shaves the wood, but reverse direction against the grain, and the blade catches the fiber ends, tearing the wood deep below the surface. Look at the grain lines on this curved shape. If your chisel follows this red path, pushing upward into the grain, will it tear or shave? It will tear. Simply rotate the block 180 degrees. Now the same motion glides safely with the grain. Sometimes a mistake happens and you cut too deep. Attempting to glue the chipped piece back on leaves a visible, unnatural seam. Instead, adjust the other side of your design to match the new depth. Mastering the subtractive process means learning to stop forcing your will, and instead using the natural grain as a map to navigate the material. Once your rough form is completely shaped, you begin the Phasian stage. You start with a coarse metal rasp to grind down the flat marks left by the chisel, and then use a fine file to smooth out the resulting scratches. Next comes sandpaper. This side view graph illustrates why you must use graduated grits in exact sequence. The coarse 80 grit removes the file marks. The medium 120 grit removes the coarse scratches. If you skip straight to fine 240 grit, you will only polish the deep scratches into the wood, leaving permanent visible marks. Finally, look at the difference oil makes in this split-screen illustration. Applying natural finishes like linseed or vegetable oil penetrates the fibers, preventing the wood from cracking in the heat and making the natural grain visible and rich. To carve successfully, remember these 4 rules. Always carve away from your body. Control the tool using the two-handed technique. Read the fibers to carve with the grain, and progress patiently through your finishing grits. Carving requires the patience to remove only what is necessary, teaching you to look at a raw block and see the finished form inside. For more lessons and resources, visit www.yaka.cc.